Hi, this is Herbs 101, and today we're going to be talking about identification techniques for a lot of commonly used herbs. We're going to go over a few culinary applications, some basic planting guidelines, and a few integrated pest management applications. So, what is an herb? According to botanists, herbs are any seed-producing, annual, biennial, or perennial that does not develop persistent woody tissue. In more layman's terms, herbs are the leafy or flowering parts of plants with savory or aromatic qualities used for cooking, medicines, or fragrances. An annual plant is just a plant that completes its life cycle from seed to death in one growing season. Biennial plants are those that complete their life cycle within 2 years, and perennial plants are those that live for 2 or more years. Basil is a green leafy annual herb. It's a flowering plant, but you're going to want to prune those flowers as soon as they begin to develop. If they're allowed to grow, they can cause the leaves of the basil plant to develop a bitter taste. There's multiple different varieties of basil, and each has different cooking applications. Basil is used most often in Italian and Thai dishes. When you're planting basil, you're going to want to plant the seeds about a 1/4 inch deep and 10 to 12 inches apart. Chives are a type of onion that closely resemble grass, but they grow taller and they have thicker leaves. Wild chives typically grow in relatively large clumps. When they're flowering, they will produce a lavender-colored blossom. Chives are typically used as a garnish, but since they have a mild onion flavor, they can be used in a wide variety of dishes. When you're planting them, you're going to want to put the seeds about a 1/4 inch deep and 2 inches apart. Cilantro is an herb that closely resembles parsley. The key to spotting cilantro is to look for curved leaves. It also has a distinctive scent, while parsley smells much more mild. Cilantro and coriander are from the same plant. Cilantro just refers to leaves, while coriander comes from the seeds. Both parts of the plant are frequently used in Mexican and Indian dishes. When you're planting it, you're going to want to put the seeds about a 1/4 inch deep and 2 inches apart. And like pretty much all the herbs we're going to be talking about today, as the plants continue to grow and spread out, they can be thinned if needed. Parsley looks similar to cilantro, as we talked about, but you can see the difference in the pointed leaves. It also has a much more subtle smell. Parsley is a very versatile herb that can be used in many dishes as a garnish. It's also found in a lot of Middle Eastern and Italian dishes. You are going to want to plant these seeds a 1/4 inch deep and about 6 to 8 inches apart. Oregano is known for its rounded, green, and slightly fuzzy leaves. It closely resembles marjoram, but the two can easily be differentiated with flowering. Oregano has pink and purple flowers, while marjoram flowers are white. Oregano also has a slightly spicy taste, while marjoram has a hint of citrus. Oregano is frequently used in Italian dishes, and when planting it, you're going to want to put the seeds in a 1/4 inch deep and 2 inches apart. There are many different types of sage, but for this presentation, we're just going to be talking about common garden sage, which has the most culinary applications. It can be identified by its gray to green colored fuzzy leaves and a strong aroma. Sage is frequently used to season a lot of meats, including poultry and sausage in particular. When planting it, you're going to want to put the seeds 1/8 of an inch deep and about 24 inches apart. Rosemary is a woody herb with leaves that resemble pine needles. It also has a very distinctive scent that makes it pretty easy to identify. When flowering, the blooms can be a couple different colors, including pink, blue, purple, and white. Rosemary is frequently used to season meats, particularly fish. It can also be used in a wide variety of Italian dishes and a bunch of different savory meals. Rosemary is a bit difficult to grow. You're going to want to place the seeds on top of the soil about 1/2 of an inch apart. You don't cover them with soil, and they take a while to germinate, about 3 weeks, and typically only 50% will successfully germinate. Once you get the plants established, though, maintenance is significantly easier than actually getting the plant started. Dill. Dill is most frequently confused with fennel. The plants look very similar, but the leaves of dill plants are significantly shorter. Still, the easiest way to tell them apart is by taste. Dill is a bit tangy, while fennel tastes somewhat like black licorice. The leaves are often used to flavor soups and salads, while the seeds are used for pickling. Plant dill seeds 1/4 inch deep and about 18 inches apart. Thyme plants are typically bushy with thin branches and small, smooth leaves that are clustered and typically have a darker green color. Thyme sprigs or leaves can be used to season dishes. It's a pretty versatile herb that can be used in a wide variety of dishes. Uh, when you plant them, you're going to want to just scatter the seeds lightly over soil and then very loosely cover it with a thin layer of soil. Once the plants begin to grow, then you can thin them out at that point. Spearmint. Spearmint plants can most easily be identified by their minty scent. They're also known for their serrated leaves, which tend to grow in opposite pairs across the plant stems. Spearmint has more of a mild taste than some other types of mint. It's often used in sauces and dressings, but it can also be used in salads and as a garnish. And when you're planting it, you're going to want to put the seeds 1/4 inch deep and 12 to 18 inches apart. Mint can be aggressive, so be sure to thin the plants as needed because it can very easily take over your garden. Lemongrass is known for a mildly sweet lemony scent. It becomes much stronger once the plant is cut. Lemongrass grows in clumps of green stalks with narrow green blades with slightly sharp edges. It's most commonly used in Thai dishes and herbal teas. You're going to want to plant the seeds 1/4 inch deep and 1 inch apart. So for integrated pest management in herbs, many can be used as an alternative to traditional chemical pest management methods. A couple examples here. Chives can be planted to help keep spider mites and aphids away. Catnip repels many different pests, including ants, aphids, weevils, cockroaches, and some beetles. Lavender, rosemary, and sage, or other herbs with a lot stronger scents, can actually help cover up the smells of other edible crops that will keep a variety of pests away that would traditionally be finding food by scent. Also, their flowers can help attract pollinators, which is helpful if you have them planted near other flowering or fruiting plants. Peppermint oil can be extracted from mint plants and used as a pest repellent in your own household. It keeps away things like ants, spiders, cockroaches, and mosquitoes. If you use any herbs or their oils indoors for pest management, just be sure that they're safe to use around pets and children. Here are a couple of brief harvesting guidelines. Different herbs, they mature at different rates, and some might have unique harvesting needs, but these are just some general rules of thumb. For herbs with edible leaves, harvesting should take place before the herbs begin to flower. Once they begin to flower, it could significantly alter the taste of the herb. Early morning is considered the best time to harvest herbs, preferably before the warmest part of the day starts to hit. Once they're harvested, herbs should not be washed. This can wash away a lot of their aromatic oils. Harvesting should occur regularly instead of all at once. Periodically trimming the herbs will give you a steady supply, and it also helps encourage new and healthy growth. Harvest only the healthy parts of the plants. Anything that has mold or shows signs of disease or that it's been picked apart by insects, that should be pruned away, but definitely shouldn't be eaten. And since we're not in person right now for the time being, this is still a pretty easy hands-on activity that you can do at home. If you just take some freshly picked herbs from a garden or a local store, you can mix them with equal parts of coconut oil and sugar, mash it up with a fork, chopstick, something else to just break it up into smaller pieces, and mix that super well. That will create a hand or body scrub with moisturizing qualities and a nice fresh scent. It's preferable that you do this with a reusable container, such as a mason jar or an old container. Yeah, well, thank you for listening.